Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into a technology that's rebuilding our world from the inside out. Yeah, it's a digital revolution happening in a world of concrete and steel, and is changing, well, pretty much everything.
So let's just start with a really big idea. What if you could build a skyscraper twice, but the first time you build it, you do it digitally? A practice run where you can find every single mistake, solve every problem, and get it absolutely perfect before anyone even breaks ground.
Well, that is the whole promise behind a technology called Building Information Modeling, or as pretty much everyone in the industry calls it, BIM.
Okay, I know that definition sounds a little academic, so let's break it down. BIM isn't just some fancy 3D model you can spin around on a screen. Think of it more like a single, shared digital copy of the building that everyone, the architect, the engineer, the construction manager, they all work on it together, right through the building's entire life.
You know, the 3D model is what catches your eye, for sure. But the really crucial part, the secret sauce, is the I, and that stands for information. Every single thing in that model, from a window to a water pipe, is packed with data. What it's made of, who makes it, how much it costs, even when it needs to be serviced down the line. That's what makes this whole thing so revolutionary.
Here's probably the best way to think about it. A traditional blueprint? That's like a static paper map. It shows you the layout, yeah, but it's frozen in time. A BIM model, on the other hand, is like having a live GPS for the entire building. It's dynamic, it's full of real-time data, and it guides you through not just what to build, but how to build it, and with exactly what materials.
And this contrast just says it all, doesn't it? On one hand, you've got the simple, two-dimensional sketch, and on the other, an intelligent, data-filled digital twin of the real world. It's a model so rich with information, it can literally simulate the entire life of a building before it even exists.
So what makes this model so smart? Well, it's a concept called parametric modeling. Just think of it like a web of interconnected rules. So let's say an architect decides to make a doorway a little wider. The model doesn't just stretch the opening. No, it instantly recalculates everything. The new amount of brick you'll need, the new length for the door frame, even how much extra paint you're going to need. It's just a huge leap in efficiency. Okay, so we get what BIM is, but why is it a revolution? Let's get into how this one shift in thinking is completely changing the game for the entire construction industry. Now this chart, this tells the whole story. In the traditional way of doing things, your ability to make changes just falls off a cliff once construction starts, while the cost of making those changes goes through the roof. Finding a mistake on site is a complete nightmare. BIM flips that on its head. It shifts the power to make changes way earlier, to the design phase, when fixing things costs next to nothing. And this is absolutely critical. Just look at a typical building's life. You might spend a couple years planning it, a couple years building it, but then it has to be operated and maintained for 50 years. 50 years! That is by far the longest and most expensive part of a building's entire existence. And that's where you see the real long-term power of BIM. That intelligent model you create during the design phase, you don't just throw it away. It becomes the building's digital operating manual for the next 50 years. And that level of planning just creates huge benefits all across the board, from predictable costs to better teamwork and ultimately a higher quality building.
So this technology is obviously incredible, but it doesn't run itself. So who are the pros that actually power this process and turn these amazing digital models into physical reality? Let's meet one of the key players.
Meet the quantity surveyor. This is an absolutely crucial role. Think of them as the financial and legal guardians of a construction project. They're responsible for managing all the costs, the contracts, and the legal stuff from the very first sketch right up to the final handover.
For a quantity surveyor, a BIM model is basically the ultimate tool. Instead of manually measuring blueprints for hours on end, they can get precise quantities for every single material with just a few clicks. They use all that rich data to create incredibly accurate cost estimates, to manage contracts, and to make sure the whole project delivers real value for money.
And we're not just talking about a job here. This is a highly skilled profession. University degrees are often accredited by major industry bodies, like the Royal Institution of Chartered Surveyors. And that accreditation, it's a stamp of quality. It puts graduates on a trusted path to becoming chartered professionals who are recognized all over the world.
So we've seen the tech, we've met the professionals, but what does a career built around BIM actually look like? Come on, let's talk about the payoff for mastering these kinds of in-demand skills.
Right out of university, a newly trained quantity surveyor can expect to earn a really strong starting salary, usually somewhere in the range of £25,000 to £35,000.
But that's just the starting line. With experience in that all-important chartered status, that number can rise a lot. There's huge demand for these skills, and an experienced surveyor can earn up to £80,000, sometimes even more, with opportunities both here in the UK and all around the world. So if you take one thing away from all of this, let it be this simple but incredibly powerful idea. First plan, then build. It's all about using technology to get everything perfect in the virtual world before you ever put a spade in the ground in the physical one. This shift isn't just changing construction, it's completely rebuilding it from the foundation up.